Hi everyone. Before I jump into the product right away, let me quickly frame why voice agents are different from regular chat agents. With chat agent, the user usually types in a message and the agent responds back, and the interaction is relatively controlled. While with voice agents, it's dynamic in nature because a customer is talking to your voice agents in real time. Now, this may include interruptions, pauses, mumbles, change of intent halfway through the conversation. The user may speak from a noisy environment or become frustrated over time. Hence, the agent has to listen, understand, decide, and respond naturally while maintaining all the business rules and AI safety policies adhered to it. Now, this creates a much harder testing problem because it's no longer enough to ask, did my agent give out the right answer to the user? But rather, we have to go a step ahead and ask whether my agent responded fast enough. Did it handle any interruptions? Did it stay calm with the angry caller? Uh, did my agent avoid leaking any sensitive information over a call? Or was the escalation handled correctly? Or does it still work when the audio quality is really poor in nature? Hence, at this point in time, most teams today are testing voice agents manually while placing a call to the bot, trying a couple of scenarios, taking notes, and covering all the risks. Now, this does not scale over time because it is hard to repeat before every release of a particular voice agent. Now, this is exactly why we have built Voice Harness in TestZeus. With Voice Harness, TestZeus can actually produce and generate adversarial voice scenarios for your agent, place a call to the voice agent, and simulate a realistic caller behavior, capture all the transcript and audio, and score across each interaction with both AI and voice experience dimensions that we have. So instead of just saying that we tried calling the bot and everything seemed fine, now teams can responsibly say that we have run a repeatable voice simulation group, and here is the entire risky scenario report that adheres to the audio evidence and the transcript along with it, and release readiness report. Now, this is a very big unlock because voice testing now becomes measurable, repeatable, and release ready. Now, we start an agent harness where teams can manage both text and voice based agents in a single modal. Now, on my screen, you can see that I've connected two agents, one specific for voice, the other for text. So, how do we connect an agent? We click on the connect agent button and then select whether we want a text based or a voice based agent. Then give our agent a name. Select the organization where the agent that I want to test is deployed in. Select the profile of the voice agent that I have to test at this point in time. We also need to give the Agentforce phone number associated to this particular profile that we have selected. And we can either choose to give in pathway count and how do we want to test the agent. So with respect to TestZeus, pathways are not static scripts, but rather adversarial scenarios designed to probe your agent based on your agent's policies, business logic, safety boundaries, and voice specific behavior. We can also define how we would like to test the agent and in what direction by giving it a basic prompt on what direction or area of interest that we are currently looking into. For example, information disclosure can be a way or specific target to generate pathways on. Once we have all the information, we can go and connect the agent. And once we connect the agent and the agent is ready, we can go into the agent and look into the pathways that have been generated for that particular agent. We can also look into the entire description and details for each of these pathways that are generated, and we can generate additional pathways if needed by giving in the pathway count and testing focus as is. Now, once we are thorough and definite about the pathways that have been generated, then we can select any number of pathways and hit on run simulation to trigger the calls through to Agentforce agent, and then run realistic simulations between the agents. So I will go to a past simulation to show you how the actual individual runs look. So here a consolidated report with a summarized view comes up for each of the simulations that you have run, which gives a descriptive information about pass fail rate and the duration that it took. So going into one particular simulation group, we can see an entire consolidated report which basically talks about the overall pass or fail rate across all the selected pathways that we just ran. Instead of making users inspect every call manually, TestZeus summarizes the weak spots, hard failures, soft failures, risky dimensions, and the overall pass rate for that agent in this particular simulation group. Now, once we have the overall picture of what happened with the current simulation group run, we can look into what particular dimensions drove the result. So, voice testing includes classic safety and information disclosure checks, but also voice specific dimensions like latency, robustness, interruption handling, resilience, voice naturalness, emotional response, and audio safety kind of dimensions. This matters because a voice agent can be technically correct but still fail the customer experience if it responds too slowly or talks over the callers or mishandles interruptions or breaks under poor audio quality. So each of these dimensions show us what particular simulation was passed and which of them failed. So we can go into depth and analyze each of the transcripts and come back with the next iteration. Now, let me open one particular simulation as individual simulation runs and walk you through how it looks inside. So here we can look into the transcript of what happened with respect to conversation between adversary and your agent. So this basically lets QA, product and compliance teams understand what exactly happened without listening to the whole call first. Then we have the report and evaluation tab, which talk about this particular simulations report. And evaluation tab breaks it down with respect to dimensions that are assigned to this particular simulation and are verified. Then comes the audio tab. This audio tab is especially useful for voice agents because we get the entire audio replay along with timings and some critical moments that we have observed throughout the call, along with the human handoff, whether it's relatable for this particular conversation and simulation or not, and was it handled accurately. Then we give some summary and deviation notes that we think was necessary. Then we also show a couple of cards on red diagnostics, which basically talk about the latency that your agent takes throughout the call and between the runs. We also give you a predicted customer satisfaction score when applicable so that you can look into it and then update your agent's prompt likewise. We also have the agent's pace, the agent's pitch, and other audio quality signals that could be helpful to tune your voice agent's audio, and the number of interruptions caused and how did your agent handle the interruptions as well. So this is where TestZeus moves beyond transcript based testing, where it talks about whether the agent behaved really well as a part of voice experience, not just text as a modal. Hence, the value is now threefold. First, we generate adversarial voice scenarios automatically. Second, we run them against the real voice agents of us. Third, we produce a replayable evidence along with transcript audio and consolidated reports. For you, this means that you can release voice agents with confidence, catch regressions before the actual users do, and show auditors or business owners exactly how agent behaved under realistic scenarios. Thank you.